Hey guys, Merry Meet. Today I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm actually a little bit nervous. A lot of you know of Arwen Lynch, who is an amazing tarot reader, and she also does videos here on YouTube. And she has a tarot tag right now, and I really like the questions. I was really into it. I've never done a video response to anyone before, so I'm going to be like doing a lot of, I don't know, it feels, I don't know, I'm suddenly very shy, so I'm not usually shy, and you guys know that already, so, but yeah, here, I'm just going to go ahead and launch into it. So, there are 15 questions, and the first question is, what is your favorite deck? And this is kind of like a difficult question for me, because, like, I have a lot of decks that mean something very personal to me. I have the deck that I got when I was 12 that started this whole thing, like 30 years ago. I have the deck that I have used since my early 20s, and it's my most used deck, the most familiar one. But I have to say, out of all of my decks, and you know, they each have their own strengths and weaknesses, I'm going to say something that's going to come off as not too surprising for people who watch a lot of YouTube tarot videos, because everybody loves this deck. Everybody has been blown away by this deck. And this was kind of a surprise to me. I bought this to be my winter deck, to do kind of winter readings, because the images are kind of stark, but it very quickly became my deck and my personal deck, and that's the Wild Unknown. And what I love about this deck, excuse me, is, you know, again, the images are very kind of basic and very stark, but what it is to me, this deck, it only reads for me. I have tried to read it for like my husband. It doesn't really work. When I read this deck, it answers my questions, but it kind of asks me the questions that I should have been asking all along. Okay, so it uncovers things. It's really good for that. I get really amazing readings from this. Sometimes I learn things that I don't necessarily even want to know, but that I need to face. So this is a really good deck for me. This is really good for, I use this for my daily draw. And it's also kind of for personal readings, where I kind of can't cover it up in bullshit with this deck, which is nice. Because I have a tendency to, when I read for myself, I kind of read what I want to read, and I think we all do that. So, anyways, I love this deck. I will never use this deck to read for anyone else, okay? And I'm actually very picky about who even touches it. You know, it rarely leaves my house, actually, so... Favorite deck. I want to get the Companion Oracle deck. I just haven't gotten to it yet, but I will. So, okay, these questions were kind of fun. They made you think. And the first one, or the question number 2, is actually very easy. And that is, what tarot card stands for who I am right now? And this is what I use as my significator all the time, and that's the Mother of Pentacles. I'm a Capricorn, very earthy Capricorn, very grounded, and I do have like airy qualities, I do have fiery qualities, I have a lot of water qualities. I'm Cancer rising, and I have a Pisces moon, so there's like a lot of water in there, and sometimes I will use the Mother of Cups or the Queen of Cups, but this is me. I am an earth sign. I am earthy all the way. This is just where I feel comfortable. This is who I am. And again, I'm doing a lot of things, like I'm trying to communicate, I'm trying to do YouTube videos, I'm trying to start my online tarot business, and I'm trying to do all these things that are more kind of like airy sword energy, but it's me. So, the third question is, what tarot card stands for who I want to be? And I had to really think about this, because, you know, it would be kind of easy to say the High Priestess, you know, I want to be more spiritual. You know, any of the cards that kind of personify qualities that I would want. The Empress, or, you know, the Hanged Man, even just like processing all that spiritual kind of knowledge through sacrifice. And, you know, there are good things about all of those. But really, the one that most kind of represents what I want out of life is the World. And this isn't a person, you know, clearly, but it does kind of show what I'm working towards. I want to feel like I've graduated, feel like I've accomplished things, feel like, yeah, I'm a Capricorn. Again, that's kind of in my makeup. But I want to get to that place where I feel like, yeah, I should probably hold these up closer. I don't know. Again, I haven't done one of these. Where I feel like I've really kind of graduated. I have started so many projects, it's ridiculous. And finishing them has always been problematic. So, again, I just want to feel that I have it. I've done it. I've gotten there. So, and that, that kind of goes into judgment a little bit too, but for me, the world kind of encompasses that, having it all. Everything's in perfect balance. Finances, relationship, everything is like working out the way it should. So, the world. Fourth question. Draw a card and tell how it answers the question, what does the universe want me to know right now? God, this is lots of pressure. I'm not even going to shuffle. I'm just going to pull this one. Alrighty. And we've got the Five of Cups reversed. That's actually really incredibly meaningful to me. Because I have experienced a lot of emotional losses throughout my life and throughout the last, several years. And even just recently, I've been going through a really incredibly hard time. Just for various reasons. I have some issues that I'm getting through, and it's reversed. So, yeah, I've been doing a lot of personal work. I've been doing a lot of emotional work. I've been doing a lot of processing things, and maybe I'm getting through it. So, that means a lot to me. The horse is looking up. It's obviously very sad, but, the horse is looking up. Everything is looking up. The cups have been dumped out. So all of that emotional crazy has fallen away. Yeah, I really hope so, because I need this, so that's awesome. And actually, but that wasn't my daily pull today. My daily pull was, let me just look, just out of curiosity. Oops. I knew that was going to happen. My daily pull is the Eight of Cups reversed. So it is kind of like about coming back to the world, after this hard time that I mentioned I have been through. So that's a good thing. Those are good cards. And I'm trying to center this. That looks like it should be okay. I apologize if this is crazy out of center, but yeah, okay. So, cool. I'm down with that. A lot of my emotional stuff hopefully is on its way out, and I can relax and move on. So, the fifth question, do I have any cards that I must love in order to want to work with a deck? No. Like, honestly, I showed you the World card in this, and I guess the World card would be, like, my favorite card. I don't exactly love this World card. I mean, it's nice, it's pretty, but I don't feel, like, hugely connected to it. I do in the Deviant Moon Tarot. I love the World in the Deviant Moon Tarot. But honestly, like, each deck, there's kind of like, it has its pluses and minuses. One thing that I do need to see in a deck is I need for the correspondences of the suits to be clear. For example, I just watched a video, and I'm so sorry, I can't remember who it was who did it, and I think they were reviewing the Wooden Tarot. And so in the Wooden Tarot, I believe it's the Wooden Tarot. I may be wrong here. But they use stones to represent fire. And that makes me insane. That really drives me crazy because stones are earth. Stones have always been earth for me. And it's like, I love that deck. It's beautiful, but I could never use it because I would be so distracted by that. So it's more a question of the correspondences of the suits for me, rather than specific cards. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm just weird about that. Okay, number 6. Why tarot and not some other divination system? I do use other divination systems. I have used runes quite a lot. I learned Ogam. What else? Yeah, you know, even other cartomancy systems. I've used Lenormand. I've used various oracles. I have done a lot of scrying. But I don't know, tarot is just so rich, okay? There's so much that you can learn from the tarot cards, and there's something about the shuffling the cards and the feeling them in your hands that just transports me to this other space in a way that, you know, runes have not, or, you know, using my scrying mirror has not. It just takes me to this place where I'm, like, seeking information actively, and I love that about it. And there's just so much depth as far as the information that you can get. So yeah, like, I like other systems, but it's just always been tarot for me. Again, you know, I started reading when I was 12, and it just kind of always stuck with me. I kind of, you know, went for a while without, and then would start back and went for a while without. But I've always had a deck of tarot cards around, so I just feel very at home with tarot cards. So, number 7. What's the first book I read about tarot aside from the Little White Book? And I wouldn't say that I read this book, but this is the first book that I bought. I don't recommend this book. I don't want to trash talk anything, but I got Tarot Made Easy by Nancy Guerin. And this is my old beaten up, horrible copy. It's okay if you don't actually want to learn tarot, because it kind of lays everything out and makes it way too easy. You know, for example, let's look up I have leaves pressed in here. Okay, the Fool. So you've got the Fool, and then you've got all these various meanings of what the Fool can be. In terms of news, family, the physical body, finances, inheritance, rewards and gifts, success, special guidance, okay? So what it does is it kind of takes a lot of the thinking and the processing and the absorbing of the cards out of it, okay? And so furthermore, like, you know, say if you get the Fool and you want to figure out what that means in terms of how it relates to an inheritance, I want to be able to take that mental leap. I want to be able to think it through. I want to be able to use my intuition to figure out what that means. I don't want it laid out nicely for me. I feel like this actually kept me from learning tarot for a while because it was just easy and you look it up. And secondly, some of the meanings just completely contradict each other. You know, the meaning for blessings will be different, completely opposite from the meaning for inheritance. So you're like, okay, what the fuck does this mean? I have no idea. So it's like, I don't know, I feel like now that I've kind of learned more about tarot, if I went back and looked at this, I could maybe find some things, some connections that I didn't see before. But yeah, I don't know. I don't love this book. If you don't want to learn tarot, if you don't really care about it, if you just want quick answers, it's a good book for that. So, let me see. Question 8. What tarot person would I like to sit down with to talk about tarot? This is not me sucking up, I promise, but I really love Arwen. I love her style. I love her, she cuts through the bullshit, and she says things in a very straightforward way, and I really dig that, because when I read for myself, you know, and I mentioned that before, I tend to kind of like wrap things in a neat little package for myself, and I think we all do that. Nobody wants to, you know, see the Tower card and be like, oh shit, not again, right? So, but she kind of has this way of saying things that is like, just cuts through all that bullshit, and I really like her style that way. You know, if I had to pick someone else, because, you know, this is, again, I'm not sucking up here, another tarot person. You know what, I've got a friend who, I've mentioned her in, like, so many videos lately, but we just talk like crazy, who, she actually is kind of new to tarot, and she's so enthusiastic, and she has so many insights that I think I'm too jaded. I've been doing this for too long that I have the enthusiasm, but, like, I don't have the open mind that she has. And she tells me things sometimes, you know, that about certain cards or what have you, that I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that's great, because she just has a completely different perspective. So she's a lot of fun to talk to, and I've actually enjoyed, I've actually learned some things, you know, so that's cool. You know, again, with tarot, if you ever think that you're done learning, you're completely wrong, because there's always something new to learn. So, Number 9, one YouTube channel I watch and why. I hate that I'm supposed to pick one here. I'm going to pick one, and I'm going to do an honorable mention as well. Clearly, I watch Arwen's videos. But one that I've actually really been enjoying a lot is Kellyanne Maddox. And I love her style because she will take a card and she'll unpack it, okay? And then she'll unpack it again, and then she'll unpack it again, and she goes so deep through all these layers of meanings. And she has like a lot of psychological background to back it up, so she will take a card and like just find all these layers and layers and layers of meanings and how they apply to someone in their daily life. And it's mesmerizing. So I've actually learned quite a lot from her. As far as like an honorable mention, I love, what is it? Storytime Tea and Tarot. God, I was going to write it down. I think that's right. I'll link to both of these in the down bar. But I love her because she like pairs cards with crystals, and she uses rocks and the cards a lot, and I love that. Like I'm a rock, stone, crystal junkie. I have so many. I'm looking at a bag right now of quartz crystals, jade, and blue lace agate that I was going to do a grid with and didn't. And you know, honey calcite and peridot and tourmaline over here, and just, I don't know, various. I've got like a huge related quartz behind me. So I just love that she puts those two together. I love the way she does her videos, and she again also has really amazing insights. I love the things that she says, but her videos are just really beautiful the way that she does them. So how many decks do I have? And this is kind of a fun question for me because I'm a little bit different from other people on YouTube in that I don't intend to collect decks. That has never been my intention. Like, I like the idea of having a bunch of different decks, but I would really rather have fewer decks, but decks that I actually work with. Okay, so like, I've got one deck that I use for, you know, each season, or one deck that I use to, like, you know, when people are dying, you know, around the death transition. But I've ended up collecting them anyways, so I think that just happens. So I don't have like a ton. I have 9 Oracle decks, and I had to go walk around my house and go find them all to really tell. I need to keep them in one place. 9 Oracle decks, 14 Tarot decks, and 2 Lenormand decks. The Lenormand I keep in my purse, and they're great for just very literal quick readings. Most of my Tarot decks are in here. My Oracles are just everywhere, so... let's see. Question 11. Do I mix oracles and tarot when I read? Yes, absolutely. I love, love, love doing... One of my favorite readings to do is kind of a body, mind, spirit reading. Okay, so it's 9 cards, all right? First card is body, mind, spirit, you know, so on and so forth. But then I put a 4th card, a 4th card in each row, so it becomes a 12-card reading. Wait. Yeah, okay. With an oracle. And so the oracle is kind of special guidance, or special, you know, this is a way to look at, you know, what is contained in the tarot cards. So love mixing them so much. It's just an added layer of information that you can get, or, you know, a helpful way to look at things. So love it. One of my favorite oracle decks, I will say, is the Enchanted Map by Colette Baron Reed. I pulled that out of the box and just started reading with it. And it was just immediately right on and amazing. And it's always so touching. The readings from that are always very touching. So, question number 12. Have I ever created my own card or deck? No. I want to so bad. I think a lot of readers, like especially any reader that has any kind of artistic ability, wants to create their own deck, but there are only so many hours in the day. You know, I'm trying so hard to do so many other things. I would love to create my own deck. I have ideas for decks that I want to create, or cards that I want to create, but when it comes down to it, I have to focus in my energy because, yeah, it's just another project that would take time away from what I'm trying to do right now. So maybe in the future, if I get to where you know, I have more time or more energy for things, then yeah, it's a possibility. So, number 13, do I read for myself? Yes, all the time. Mostly I read for myself. I do read for family members and friends, and again, I am trying to get my professional, you know, practice started, but I mostly read for myself. I do a daily draw. I do seasonal readings at every equinox and solstice. I do, you know, like 3-card readings when I have questions. I'm actually going through Eclectic right now and trying to do like every reading I can find just to see. And I'm making up templates for those, so it's kind of fun. Oh, and I'm also developing my own spreads. So I do a reading for myself and I do my own spread just to see how it works and how it flows and whether it works. So question 14, what are my favorite questions to be asked when doing a reading? Okay. I love, love, love doing readings for people. And it's not specific questions, but I love it when they are going through major, major life changes. And I think because it's something that I resonate with, my life has been very up and down, very tumultuous. Lots of major things have happened. And I love talking to people when they're going through that too, when, you know, they're scared, they're uncertain, they don't know what their future holds. They, you know, are kind of excited, but also kind of devastated, or when all the big changes are happening, the huge transformations, the things that just completely change your life. Love those readings. Because, you know, when you're going through things like that, you could use that support. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's helpful. And I feel like if I can show them any kind of a pathway to something that maybe they haven't thought of, or a way to reframe things to make negatives positive, I feel like that's a big part of why I do this. So, yeah, just big transformations, big changes, big chaos. If I can do anything to provide information or help during that time, I love doing that. So, number 15, what's the craziest thing that's happened to me during a reading? This one was tough. Yeah, this one was tough. I have 2 things. Because I haven't had like crazy things happen to me during readings, usually. I will say that when my dad was dying, my sister and I had to get out of the house, you know, as we had been there for weeks and we were stressed out. So we went to a Barnes & Noble near his house, and I bought a tarot deck because I didn't have any of my decks there with me, and I just wanted to kind of connect in that way. So I did a reading, and it was the Revelations Tarot. And there's a card in the Revelations Tarot where there's a man kind of languishing. I can't remember what it is, but there's a man and he's bald and he's kind of languishing and leaning, you know, like he's laying down. It looked exactly like my father, who was dying of cancer. It looked exactly like him laying in bed, and it was horrible. And so I kind of used that deck because of that. It just hit me so hard. I use that deck when somebody is dying, and I've actually been able to predict pretty easily how many days they have left and that sort of thing. And I also, after a while, I started using it to speak to the dead. As my, you know, dead loved ones started kind of racking up, I started using that deck to speak to the dead. And it's very clear for that. Like, the voices come through loud and clear. You know, it's like I will know that I'm speaking to my grandparents. Absolutely. You know, no doubt. So that was one of the craziest things. That was a deck that, or is a deck that was just very clear about how it was meant to be used. And there was no denying it. Another one, and this also kind of revolves around death a little bit. I just did for my mom a, what is the spread called? Universal Oneness on Eclectic. And the title of the thread is God All Day. And it's a deck that uses, or a spread that uses all 78 cards. Okay, so it is a huge spread. Okay, and it takes up my mom's entire dining room table. I did that for her birthday. Well, I used the Tarot of the Trees. And what I forgot about the Tarot of the Trees is that the Tarot of the Trees does not have 78 cards, it has 79 cards. Okay? So, little bit of backstory. My mom has recently lost her husband in June of last year. And she had just gone through the death of her mother and father at the same time, my grandparents. So she is living in this house that she is just surrounded by all of their energy, and it's really difficult for her. So I did this reading for her, and I had a card left over at the end, and I was like, what the hell? And then I was like, oh, right, I totally forgot. Well, the card that had been left out was death. So that didn't make it into her reading. And I thought that was very telling, because it was kind of, you know, the death card is very rarely about death, but it was kind of a sign for her that she could relax, okay, that the energy had changed for her. The card that is the 79th card that was in the reading is regeneration. And that was in one of the top advice positions, okay, special guidance. And it was just very much that she can let go of that death, and she can worry about regenerating and rebuilding her life and creating what she wants. And it was just so like, sometimes when you have those messages like that, they just hit you like a ton of bricks. So that was a really good one. So yeah, so that was it. That was 15 questions. Arwen, thank you so much for doing this. This was a lot of fun. I think I got wordy. I don't even know what my time is. But yeah, I kind of went on with it. So, yeah. So I'm really curious. I'm going to go look at everyone else's videos now. And that's it. You guys have a great day. And blessed be. Bye-bye.